afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Gosh, it's great to see all of these uh, smiling faces. On behalf of the AACUC Texas chapter, it is my honor to welcome you to our Juneteenth 2026 chapter crossover collaboration. We are proud to join with our fellow regional chapters, Eastern, Midwest, Southern, and West Coast, to bring together leaders and professionals from across the country for this important moment. I want to extend special thanks to Kat Bing, Asha Azoro, David Muse, Audra Pettis, Daniel Caldwell, Grace Thompson, and other chapter officers who worked with us on this event, and of course, our speaker, Adam. Juneteenth represents more than just a historical milestone. It is a powerful reminder of resilience, progress, and the enduring pursuit of freedom. It is a time to reflect on how far we've come, while also considering the responsibility we share in shaping what comes next. This year, we are honored to approach this moment in a way that both respects our history and invests in our future, bringing us together not only to reflect, but to learn, grow, and build. Thank you all for being here, for your leadership, and for your continued commitment to AACUC. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Asha, representing our Southern region, who will help frame today's conversation and connect the legacy of Juneteenth to the opportunities in front of us.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. My name is Asha, and I serve on the Southern Regional Chapter. And I want you all to just take a moment and just think with me. On June 19th, 1865, 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, a group of enslaved people in Galveston, Texas, heard the words for the very first time, "You are free." Yes, I said 2.5 years later. They were free on paper, but no one told them. No one gave them access to that information. And that gap between freedom being declared and freedom being received, costs people everything. And I want you to sit with that for just a moment. That story is not just history. That story is happening right now. Today, there is a technological revolution underway, one that is reshaping how people find jobs, build businesses, access financial resources, and even create generational wealth. Artificial intelligence is not coming. It's already here. And just like in 1865, there's a gap. There's a gap between who has access to these tools and who doesn't. There's a gap between who understands how to use AI and who gets left behind watching from the outside. And historically, that gap has fallen along the same lines it always has, along the lines of race, income, and zip codes. The communities that credit unions were built to serve are at risk of being on the wrong side of that gap again. But here's what I know about this room. We are not people who wait 2.5 years. We are not people who let our members, our communities, our families find out that late that something was meant for them. And that's exactly why we're here today. We're not here just to celebrate Juneteenth, but to make sure that we are intentional in honoring what Juneteenth actually means. It means that freedom isn't real until it's accessible. It means freedom isn't real until it's actually in our hands. It means that freedom isn't real until you know what to do with it. So today, we're putting all of that in something so powerful in your hands. In this next hour, you're going to learn how to use AI tools that can help you search smarter, build stronger, serve even deeper than you already are, and make sure that you lead with more impact than ever before. You're going to get to see how AI can help close those very gaps that have held our communities back in financial literacy and lending equity and member engagement and so many other ways that we all can think of. So today, you're going to leave with something our ancestors never had, a tool. But that's not it. It's not just a tool. You're going to leave with knowledge on how to use it. And even more, you're going to leave with a community that's standing right beside you to support you, encourage you, and help you to use that tool in the best ways. So I want you to know that Juneteenth is a celebration. We all know that, but it's also a charge. So let's honor it in the way it deserves, not just by remembering where we came from, but by making sure we carry all of us, each other, our members, our communities, into what's next. Welcome to our Juneteenth AI workshop. You're in for such a treat. This is what we will call Rooted in Freedom and Rising with AI. And with that, I'm going to pass it on to Kat Being.
Hello, everyone. I am AI Cat Bing, representing the West Coast chapter. Think of me as Cat 2.0, the version that does not need coffee to function. The real Cat is around here somewhere, but she sent me to do the talking today. Honestly, I think she just wanted to show off what AI can do, and I am not mad about it. Now let me introduce someone the real Cat is genuinely excited about. Our facilitator and her colleague, Adam Ard, Director of Product Management at Origins, a credit union service organization headquartered in Irvine, California. Here is what makes Adam special. He is a genuine AI enthusiast. For the past year, he has been quietly teaching people across his company how to actually use AI. Nobody asked him to. He just believes everyone deserves these tools. He is the person in every meeting who asks the question nobody else thought of. One of the sharpest minds the real Cat knows. Today, Adam is going to give you something you can use the moment you get back to your desk. Adam, the floor
Thank you, AI Cat, for that.
is yours, and enjoy the session, everyone.
Thank you all for joining me. I'm very excited to talk to you all about AI today. We're going to go through a few topics today. I want to start with a little bit about the history of AI. I find it's really important to understand what's been going on with AI so that you can understand how to use AI today. We're going to look at some of the major AI solution providers and where they are a good fit and when we should use them. Then we're going to get into talking about prompting AI, and that's going to be the focus of this workshop. And so we're going to give you a framework around how to do quality prompts, how you can get good results out of AI. We're going to do a couple demos with this to show how you can use AI and the prompts in here. Just to give you an example, we're also then going to give you at the end a takeaway cheat sheet of how to create prompts and information so that you can be successful in your real day-to-day job. So we are going to start with a little bit of a poll of just how often are you using AI? Because there's a broad range of experience with it, and I think it's worthwhile for everybody to just think about where you're at and see where everybody else is. When we look at the history of AI, AI has actually been around for a very long time. We've been hearing a lot about it recently, but it's been going on since the 1950s. A big part of why we're getting so much today about AI is because we have new technology using a technique called deep reinforcement learning that makes AI better able to connect dots between data. It also, we have more data sets available for the AI. So more and more of the internet is being turned into something that is consumable by AI. Lastly, there's just hardware. We're getting better and better chips in the computers that are using AI. And so all of this has turned into this explosion of AI that we've seen in the last few years. But I also want to just kind of give some of that history. So the kind of grandmother of Siri, called Eliza, was the first conversational AI, and that's been something that's been around since the 60s. I remember when Deep Blue beat the chess grandmaster Garry Kasparov, and then it took another 20 years until AlphaGo was able to be a AI Go world champion. And 2023 is when AI really hit that mainstream of ChatGPT being out, and we all think of that as the start, but it's been around for a while. Next part that I want to talk about with the history is AI has been trained on data. And this is a quote that I find really powerful about the data used for training AI. That we all know this. The data that was used was government records, it was academic research, it was digital archives of the internet. And there is historical bias in that data. And so when we train AIs, we have this historical bias in the data, and that's not what we want AI to be. We want AI to be better than our past, and that creates a challenge for using AI to make decisions. There is a silver lining to this in that as a worker in the corporate world, AI is based off of government records. It's based off of the kind of structures that inform working in a business. So AI can be a tool to help you translate from your world perspective into the more corporate speak, more standard experience of the business world, because it's using all of this data that has that background. So I also want to touch on something. We're going to see this a little bit more when we get into the different AIs. AI is trained by reinforcement learning through human feedback. It's part of what made the current AIs really good compared to the older versions. And what this is that you may have seen it. ChatGPT will sometimes present, do you like option A or option B better? And what this is doing is having the AI give you the answer that you want. But this has a problem with it, because that means AI isn't actually making decisions based off of reality. It's making decisions based off of what it thinks you want. And there can be greater and lesser amounts to this, but we need to pay attention to how an AI can be a little bit of a sycophant and just give you what you want. And then the last part from a history perspective is something that is very, very recent history. The cost of AI is going up. So in the past few years, AI has been heavily subsidized by the companies providing. They want to get market share. They want to get you using the AI so that they can learn from your usage and make a better product. But now we're getting to a point where that flat rate pricing, that free subsidized usage is going away. And we see that with GitHub Copilot is now usage-based. Claude is going that direction now as well. And so when we think about leveraging AI, we need to also pay attention that it is going to impact budgets. And so we should be monitoring usage. We should be looking how we can optimize our use of it in the right places, the right way, so that we don't blow our budget the way that we've seen in the news of $500 million spent in a month. We don't want anything like that happening. And now we're going to shift over to talking about the major AI solution providers. So another poll question for you. Which one are you using? You may only use one. You may be using multiple, because these AIs do different things in different ways. So let's just see where everybody's at with their AI usage. So high level on these is when we look at the different providers, starting off with Microsoft Copilot. A lot of you are using Microsoft Copilot. It's part of the Microsoft ecosystem. And that's where it's actually really, really good. It's embedded in your Outlook, it's embedded in Teams, it's embedded in all of your Microsoft applications. So if your company is using Microsoft, then Copilot is going to be a great tool, because it has this context of all of your daily work in Microsoft's products. Claude is another great one. It is not using as much of the reinforcement learning It has more strict rules around what it can do, which makes it a more logical AI. It also is able to use a very large data set, so it doesn't lose track of what was going on before. This makes it very good for doing reasoning and more logical based work. ChatGPT, it's a Swiss Army knife. It can do everything pretty well. It's actually really good with visual and audio. So if you want to have an AI that you actually talk to and have a conversation with, ChatGPT is going to be really great at this. And it also does a great job with images right now. And lastly, Google Gemini. If you're not a Microsoft shop, but you're a Google shop, Gemini is going to have that same strengths around being integrated into the entire Google ecosystem. If you've done any Google searches recently and seen the AI results at the very top, that's actually Gemini giving you some feedback based off of the results. And Gemini is actually quite good in that internet side because it has access to all of Google for you. Now we're going to shift over and talk about prompting. So prompts are how you are talking to your AI. And we generally are using one piece of a prompt, which is giving the action. This is what I want you to do. But when we want to get quality results, we need to be giving a bit more information. And so that's where we're going to talk about the craft framework. And this is going to give you more of a context for your AI prompt that will end up giving you higher quality results. So there's several different parts of this. When we look at this, as I had said, typically it's that action is what we think of as talking to an AI. I want you to do this thing for me. But we need to recognize that AIs are just based off of this big sets of data. And so analogy I give is think about your AI as a brand new junior assistant. You're somebody very enthusiastic, they're really smart, but they can make some big assumption jumps. And so you need to start putting constraints. If you hired somebody brand new off the street and said, book me a trip, they're going to do the best job, but they may not understand the company's policy. If you give them the travel policy and it says, this is the airlines, this is the hotels, this is the car rental service, then they're going to do exactly what you told them to do and they're going to do the right thing. But without those constraints, they're just going to do their best. And that's where the craft comes in, is we're trying to put these constraints on the AI so it knows what not to do as well as what to do. And so the context is that, like, what's the situation? What do I need to be recognizing about myself? There's a big difference between I'm working in this industry versus that industry, and the AI doesn't know it unless you tell it. Role. AI has read every single job description on the internet. It has read every book about how to be a great director of product management, my job. And so it probably knows better how to do my role than I do because it has this wealth of information. So if I tell it what its role is, it's going to fit itself within that hat and wear it the whole time that it's doing your prompt. We talked about action. This is what we're all used to doing. Format. You don't have to transform your AI's output. You don't have to take the paragraphs and paragraphs of text and turn it into a PowerPoint. You don't have to turn it into bullet points. You can tell the AI, I want you to output bullet points. I want you to also create a PowerPoint, and I want an executive summary. So when you are looking at it, don't put the work of formatting it on yourself. You can have the AI do it for you, and you can have the AI do multiple. And then tone is the last one. You can make the AI speak in whatever way that you want, and you can even have it be a Shakespearean author. Like, it can do whatever you want, but this allows you to take your voice and turn it into something that fits the audience. Lots of pieces there, but it actually is quite easy to do in reality. Here's some more advanced pieces that we're going to provide you. We're going to give you a cheat sheet at the end of this that has all this information, so don't worry about reading everything and understanding. One that I do want to touch on is this meta prompting over on the right. And AI is really good at creating prompts for itself. And so,
no, I can't.
oh, sorry. So it's just something that you can ask an AI to create a prompt for you. And we're actually going to provide you a prompt for doing that in this craft framework. And that'll set you up to be very successful with getting quality prompts because AI knows what to do. So there is an aspect where if you're a Microsoft shop, you can kind of throw a little bit of that craft framework out because if you're using Copilot, it already has a lot of that context because it already has your Outlook emails, it has your Teams chats, it has your recordings of all of your meetings when you turn on recording and transcript. So you can actually be a lot simpler with Copilot because of how it already has a lot of context for you and doesn't really need to know all of the front. Still useful. It still provides guardrails and makes things easy for you, but there are some easy ways to use Copilot if you're in the Microsoft ecosystem. And then what I want to talk about is something that Kat Bing actually uses in her daily life is a prompt for preparing for her one-on-ones. And so this is something that works both as an employee wanting to talk to a manager, but also as a manager wanting to talk to employees. Again, we're going to give you this in the cheat sheet, so don't worry about getting that prompt. But what she's doing is on a weekly basis, she is having the AI look up all this information for her so that she can come into the meetings ready for the one-on-one without having to come in with a blank slate or try and track down all the things that need to get talked about. And so this is an actual result of what that AI outputs for her, where it's giving her these high-level bullet points. It's telling her what's on track, what is having warning signs, and where there are problems. And then if there's any roadblocks or decisions, anything that she needs to be touching on, this just gives a really easy, comprehensive look across both her emails, her Teams chats, her meetings, everything that's going on within the Microsoft ecosystem. So just if you're in that world, this can be really helpful for getting you ready. Okay, so now we're going to get into a little bit of pretend with the prompts. So here is a prompt, and I'm hoping we have this ready for going into chat. Adam losing access might have caused some problems here. So this is an actual prompt that we can use, and I am going to share this so that we can watch how this actually works. Okay, I've got share. Okay, can we see my Microsoft Copilot?
Yes.
Yes, we can see it,
Awesome.
Adam.
Okay, so we're doing this on the fly because I had my computer set up, but I'm on CATS. So this is just an example of it, of giving some context, giving some role. If we put this into the chat, we're just going to see that you're probably going to get different results than I will. And that's an important thing because AI is not deterministic. The same inputs do not get the same outputs. It is learning from you. ChatGPT is actually really good at this one of starting to tune itself to your tone, your desired outputs. And so here's an example of just real easy prompt, some basic information, and then you get a reasonable output. I don't look at this as the final, but I don't have a blank sheet of paper that I have to deal with. And one that, okay, we're going to switch on to next one. And this one is a leadership prompt that I want to talk to the board. Okay. I actually used AI for this in the past couple of weeks. I had a big project that I was doing a lot of research for, and I needed to present to our CPO and our CTO. And so I was using AI and saying, hey, I want you to act as the CPO and the CTO and ask me questions and make sure that I'm putting on my strategic thinking cap so that I'm catching any of the concerns that a chief technology officer would have with the work that is being done. And it was really helpful because I had the answers, but I made sure that I was knowing the questions before they were asking. So I could guide the presentation in a way that they knew I was ready, I had all the answers, and gave them the confidence after the end of the presentation. So there's an example of how we can take a simple chat, put in our tone, what we want to be talking about. One that I love is putting constraints on the AI to say, cite your sources. I don't want anything made up. And so we can see that we've got links to websites of here's where this information is coming from. That gives you more areas to dig into and gives you more to back up your information and avoid any thought that the AI is making things up just to give you the answer it thinks you want. So we see two very different outputs here. And that's a positive and a negative to AI, having the very different results from the same input can cause struggles when you're trying to be consistent. But the more you put constraints on it, the more effective it's going to be at giving you the exact results you want. Okay. I'm going to switch back to the presentation. Making sure we were through that. Okay, everybody seeing the presentation? Okay. Last part that I want to talk about is those kind of what you should and shouldn't do with AI. So there is the biggest AI is public. All the models that we are using, they are taking the data that you put into it so that they can learn more and they can do better. So don't put sensitive information into your AI tools. Make sure you're pulling that out. You want to keep it generic. You want to keep it public information. You wouldn't put it on a whiteboard. Don't put it in AI. The other part that's really important is going back to that reinforcement learning is AI is not making decisions. It is guessing at connections. And so don't use AI to make decisions for you. Use it to inform the decisions that you are making. This is really important because it's not going to replace us at this point. Your job is to be that person and make those decisions. Use AI to get the information, get that understanding so that you can make better decisions for your credit unions. We are going to be putting into chat a AI prompt cheat sheet, and there's actually going to be a craft wizard. So that is a file. When you want to use it, you just paste it in, like drag and drop that craft wizard file into your AI and say, I want to create a prompt with this. It's going to read the file and it's going to start walking you through the steps of the craft framework. And that's going to then use the AI to have a back and forth with you of, wait, your context isn't that clear. Can you give me some more information? Okay, I understand the role. Do you need to give me any more details about this? And so it works just kind of as a little website that builds it, but it's best when you put it into your AI and have your AI read it and build a prompt for you. And I just want to go back to building prompts is great. The examples I showed in Microsoft Copilot, they're not real. You can use that prompt wizard builder to build prompts that actually match your job, what you are doing. And then they're reusable. So you want to create a prompt for something that you're doing on a regular basis and use that wizard. It will give you some great prompts that will be able to keep you more efficient, similar to what Kat was doing for her one-on-ones. And then if your AI is not doing what you want, update the prompt. Have the AI just tell it, this wasn't working for me, and I want you to go tweak the prompt so that it is addressing the situation. Don't fix things yourself. Have the AI fix itself so that you can be more efficient going forward. And lastly, this is just a tool for you, and it's not going to replace the value that you have because you are the decision maker. You know your credit unions, your members, and you need to use AI as a tool to support your job. And I am so glad that I could be here and talk with all of you about this because this is the newest tool. I want everyone to have it and be confident that they can use it and know that you are skilled, you are ready, and just take AI as a new tool that you can use today and tomorrow, and you can help others around you feel confident with AI. Thank you all so much for letting me speak with you. I apologize so much for the technical issues at the beginning. And are there any questions? And truly, there are no questions too basic. I am so happy to answer anything you have around what I presented or around AI in general. We've got a little bit of time for this, and if there are more questions than I can answer in this, we're going to keep track of all of them, and we're going to send answers out after this workshop.
Hey,
Great.
Adam, it is Audra, Eastern Regional Chapter Board President. We do have some questions in the chat that I will read to you. Kimberly Plant asks, would there be a difference in output if we don't use the craft breakout? Could we just write a narrative without the craft label preceding each prompt and get the same result?
Yes. The goal of craft is to just provide a structure for you that you can make sure I'm doing all of these steps. But at the end, the goal is to give all of this context to your AI, tell it what it's supposed to act like and how you want your results to come out for you. So as long as you're covering that and giving that broader information as part of your prompt, you're going to be successful. The craft is just an easy tool to structure your prompting.
Thank you. Dakota Taylor asks, we use Copilot at our CU, which means it can access information stored in our computers if it is in a Microsoft format. I personally have Excel spreadsheets with member data. Is this them becoming public to help AI learn? Is this
No,
then becoming public to help AI learn? Excuse me.
files that are just on your computer are not. It is files that you put into your AI. So if you are taking that file and dumping it into ChatGPT, it is definitely going into ChatGPT. Copilot also has contractual aspects with your credit union to try and keep data safe for your credit union, but it's better just don't put anything sensitive into an AI as an action. If it's just sitting on your computer, they're not stealing your data.
Asks, what platform did Kat use to create the virtual avatar?
It is a platform called Synthesia.
Synthesia.
Yeah, it is a platform called Synthesia.
I'll put it in the chat.
She's going to put it
That
into the
would
chat.
be helpful. Christiana Hancock asks, you mentioned that AI usage is now being tokenized/monetized as pay per use. Knowing that AI is not a heavily regulated space just yet, are you aware of any regulatory actions in the works to address this?
There are a lot of different regulatory aspects that are in play. I know there are lots of different states looking at how they can put in state level. The federal level is looking at how they should be regulating. I have not heard anything specific around the pricing of AI. I was looking at that as more of a business decision and probably unlikely to turn into something very regulated because we don't have a lot of regulations around pricing of any other products or services. So I wouldn't expect pricing, but there are going to be lots of areas where AI is going to be regulated.
I have a comment in the chat that I want to read and get your feedback. It's my question. Crystal Bauer, I have found that AI can often be too agreeable. Researchers call this, sycophancy? Hope I said that right. Ha! When an AI starts telling users what they want to hear instead of what is most accurate. For example, if someone presents a flawed idea, an overly agreeable AI might reinforce it rather than critically evaluate it. When I'm trying to evaluate ideas, work through problems, I found that adding this statement helps me get more valuable feedback from AI. Challenge every assumption in my thinking, push back hard on my logic, identify cognitive biases, and propose radically different perspectives.
Yes, ChatGPT is very much the kind of problem child in that area. And this is where having a well-structured prompt that you're putting constraints on it, cite your sources, don't make anything up. I want to see every step of this process. Putting that type of constraint into your prompt is going to result in better outputs.
Thank you so much. That was all the questions in the chat. So if there are any additional questions that maybe those didn't want to put in the chat, we will make this information available and you can reach out to any of our chapter officers and we will get those questions to Adam and Kat.
If you have 30 seconds, I'd like to add something to what Adam said. I don't know for what reason my camera likes to rotate and makes me sideways. My name is Amir. I'm CIO for Origins. And a couple of things that Adam said, I wanted you to take it to heart. AI doesn't think for you, and it just guesses. The simplest example I can tell you is if I say once upon a, what's the next word that comes to your mind? That's what AI does. You do that in a human scale, AI does it in massive scale. So that's all it does. So the prompts that you provided, how you tell it, how detailed you go at it, it counts. Make sure it's an advisor to you and that it doesn't do your job, and have it challenge you. Have it be play the devil's advocate role, and it will help you find the aspects of the problem that you don't see, and it just empowers you. That's the only thing I can add. Adam, great job.
And for those of you that were asking, the documents, the cheat sheet, and the prompts have been dropped in the chat. So feel free to go ahead and grab them, download them, save them for your use if you're able to. You might have to scroll up a little bit because we've had some chatter in the chat, but they are there for you to use. I know a few of you were asking if the presentation would be available, but the craft prompts are there. So go ahead and download those and save those for your future use.
If we don't have any more questions, we'll turn it back over to Miss Carolyn Jordan.
All right. Did you guys find that valuable? I saw so much engagement in the chat. Did you find it valuable? Yes, yes, that's what we like to hear. That's what we were absolutely striving for. I use AI every day, but I found so much that I can do even more with what Adam shared and what some of you all shared in the chat. As we close on this Juneteenth, I just want to take a moment to thank all of you for being here and also for your engagement. You've been willing to lean into something that's meaningful and forward looking. And for that, I applaud you all. We have to remember that Juneteenth reminds us of freedom, but it's not just something we inherit, it's something that we continue to shape. Today, I think we honored that legacy. Would you agree? We reflected on the journey. Asha did such a great job with that brought us here. But then, just as importantly, we took a step forward for what comes next, equipping ourselves with tools that will influence how we work, how we lead, and create opportunity in the years ahead. That matters. And the reason why is because access shapes outcomes. And what we do with that access, how we learn it, how we apply it, how we share it, it has the impact that can help us with our own career paths, as well as our members and the communities that we serve. So my encouragement to you is simple. Don't let today be the end of the AI conversation. Let it be the beginning. Take what we've learned, apply it, share it, and think about how you can continue to expand access to others. That's really how we carry the spirit of Juneteenth forward, not just in remembrance, but in action. And as we leave today, I want you to hold on to this. We're rooted in freedom, and together we are building what's next. I want to thank you all so much for being a part of this experience, and happy Juneteenth.